It's NewsFlash time again, here in the month of October, and we've got quite a bit of new exciting stuff to talk about. Let's get on it. Hi and welcome back to the Underwater Filmmaking School and our NewsFlash for the month of October. Thank you very much for tuning in again. Now, let's have a look at what we've got here in front of me on the table, and let's start with Nauticam's EMWL. We've got a couple of new accessories that have come out and that are accessible for us now, so I want to talk about this. If you haven't seen our first impression video and our testing video about the EMWL, please I'll link up the video here in the description or up in the cards here. You can go and check that out and see some first-hand test footage if you desire so. Otherwise, let's get into what has come out new. If you look at those first impression videos and the test footage, one thing that I was a bit critical about the EMWL was that the handling of this piece of equipment was rather challenging, to put it nicely, underwater. Because there's such a big weight in front of that entire piece of equipment, it tends to be tilting to the front. So what Nauticam has done, they've planned this from the very beginning, but now they've actually released it as well, is a system where you can attach floats here to these little ballpoint mounts and just help the system to stay neutrally buoyant. And this works surprisingly well. I personally haven't tried it in the water yet, but I've heard from several sources that it works very, very well. We will be testing this in a separate video and give you the rundown on all the accessories and how it all works and whether or not it is worth getting all that extra accessory for your EMWL. Now, in addition to having the possibility to attach floats to the front of the piece, you can also use these attachments to bring your light sources closer to the front of the lens. So you can just have a nicer lighting scene or nicer lighting setup of your entire scene that way. Obviously, you can combine using floats and lights on top of that as well. So the possibilities seem to be nearly endless with the system that I've created now. Also, what I've done is create a system where you can now take the front element of the EMWL, you can take that off and you can attach it to another float that you have on your camera system, which can be handy if you're diving with several of these elements underwater and you want to change them in between the dive. So you don't want to, or during the dive I better say, so you don't want to come up and change it on land, but you can actually do that underwater and you have points where you can attach the elements to your camera system. Last but not least, they've also come out with a flip system, which I personally find very interesting. Because let's say you don't want to use the EMWL throughout the entire dive, but you've got certain scenes that you want to shoot using that piece of equipment, and then you just want to use your normal macro lens. So now what you can do is just flip that entire EMWL to the side and then closer to the camera with a quite intricate way of actually doing this. So it's positioned right next to your camera and out of the way, and you can use your macro lens that's behind it to just shoot normal macro stuff. All these things, as I said, we'll be testing as soon as we get a chance in open water to see how it works and whether it actually helps with the handling of the EMWL by Nauticam. So stay tuned for that, and if you don't want to miss out on that video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you're not missing out on that video that will come out very soon here on the channel. Now let's move along. And we'll get to our second piece of equipment that we've got at the table today, and it is the ring light made by the company X-Adventurere. Now, why do we need a ring light? It's a tool that we can use to help us illuminate our macro videography, our macro shots very evenly, because now we don't have our lights positioned to either side of the camera and possibly have parts of our image that are not really nicely lit. But with the ring light, we'll get a nice even lighting in our entire frame. And in particular, that's very useful for macro videography as mentioned. Now, this ring light is not something completely new. The system has been on the market for quite a while. There's different manufacturers that have come up with very similar pieces of equipment that do basically the same thing. Now, what is different to the ring light made by X-Adventurere to all the other manufacturers out there on the market is that you can use a macro lens, for example, that you screw in front of the ring light. With other ring lights that is not possible. You'd have to take the ring light off first, screw the macro lens onto the housing and then add the ring light in front of it. With this one you can keep the ring light where it is and you can just screw the macro lens in front of it, which goes very quick and easy, and you set to get even closer macro shots that way. So that's a really cool thing there. We'll definitely go and test this ring light out in open water as well, and as soon as that's done, we'll come up with a proper review about X-Adventurere's new ring light. Last but not least, on the equipment side of things for today's NewsFlash, we'll talk about Sony's new A7C, their very compact full frame camera that has just been released. In fact, it is the smallest full frame camera that is on the market right now. We were actually able to talk to a Sony rep that visited us today, and he left one model of the A7C here for us to test. Now it's up to us to find a housing that we can put this camera in, and then we'll take it for a test dive and see what footage we can acquire with the A7C from Sony. So again, if you don't want to miss out on it, you know the drill, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. So before we wrap up this video, let me give you a quick outlook on what is gonna happen here on the channel as a sort of special feature. To do that, we'll have to look back a couple of weeks to what happened at the Swiss Underwater Photo and Video Challenge at the beginning of the month. This is the Swiss Championship when it comes to underwater photography and videography. I myself, with a team, took part in that competition, as well as my cameraman and buddy Sebastian, who's behind the camera right now. He took part with his own team, so we ended up competing against each other, which was really cool. We really enjoyed being in that competition mode, and I think we've created some really nice products, some really nice movies out of that competition. They are somehow very similar, but somehow quite different as well. Similar in the way they try to convey the message, but captured in a very different way. So if you haven't seen those, I'll link them up here. Feel free to go and check them out and let us know what you think about the movies that we've created there. So we will actually do a little talking session in one of the upcoming videos where we'll sit down, Sebastian and myself, and we'll talk about our experiences of being at a live competition. Why do we want to do this? I've got quite a few questions on how this competition worked, what we did, how we did it, and we want to give you guys a chance to actually hear our thoughts and see what challenges we were faced during that competition and how we dealt with those challenges. So we'll do a bit of a kind of a Q&A session between the two of us regarding live competitions and specifically the 4th Swiss Underwater Photo and Video Competition. So keep an eye out for that. That will come out here on the channel very soon. Alright, and that's it pretty much for today's NewsFlash episode. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you do have any questions regarding anything that we talked about today, feel free to leave me a message down in the comment section and I'll be more than happy to get back to you as quickly as possible. As always, if this video was useful to you, if you got something out of it, please do hit that like button. You know it does really mean a lot to me, and also consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the notification bell as always so you're not missing out on any future videos that will be uploaded here on our channel. So, and as always, towards the end of my videos, I don't really know what to say. So take care, dive safe, stay healthy, and well, I'll catch you in the next one.